Well, welcome back. This is Bobby Mick with The Edge. You're watching iWatch Radio, the first and only to ever broadcast live on Facebook and HD. I'm sitting here today very excited with Erin. She's a life coach. She's out there, and believe me, I could use the ring myself. The little life ring thrown out there, I could use one. And very excited to have you here. Erin is internationally known as a life coach, author, and master practitioner and teacher of serenity, vibration, and healing. That was a whole lot of stuff right there being said. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about how Erin can help you kind of figure out where things, I'm not saying went wrong, or where you'd like maybe to have them go more in a positive scenario, maybe learn more about yourself. Is that kind of what?
All of those.
All of that stuff. Bullseye, target. Well done. But Erin, I'm going to kind of just start off with, what is life coaching? What exactly is that?
So life coaching, there's so many different definitions and so many different niches and focuses that people are really working on. But bottom line, it helps you figure out where you're stuck, what's not working in your life, help you break through all of that so you can start creating what you want.
Can I be your guinea pig?
Sure.
I could sure use all of that. That was all good. So basically what you do is if I were to come to you and say, Erin, I'm a little confused here. I'm really not sure, where I'm going. I think I want to do this, but, I'm stuck over here. Mm-hmm. What would you do?
Well, we would first really start to pinpoint what it is that you want.
Okay.
So you always have to clarify where you're going before you can really create the roadmap to get you there.
Okay.
And so we start clarifying the goals, the actions, what helps you get there, and then as you start moving forward, you're going to feel resistance, or you're going to come up across I know I should do this thing, but I'm not picking up the phone.
I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, so I'm not going to go there. Check it, give me another donut.
Right, and,
right.
And we avoid the things that are out of our comfort zone. So it's about, as you move forward on that action plan that's going to help you accomplish your goal or whatever it is that you want, we start removing the obstacles.
Okay, so let's say, because, my passion is music. Mm-hmm. I love music, and throughout my life, I've always kind of, that's always where I wanted to go, but there was always something, Erin, that kind of got in the way of that, to where it kind of, I'm going good, all of a sudden, well, no, I've got to go over here now because I've got to do this. Or I've got to go over and do this. I got to, there seemed to be always something coming in my way,
mm-hmm.
To do that. So what you would be doing is helping me kind of understanding what those obstacles are, because I'm pretty much creating them. Would that be a good assessment?
It could be.
Okay.
It could be things that you're creating. A lot of times we also live our life by this set of rules.
Rules.
And I have
rules bad.
Yeah. I have some client profiles that we can kind of play with.
I would love
later.
to do that. Yeah, absolutely. Because this, Erin, I've had a few other people in here, whether it be spiritual people, metaphysical individuals, they're all brilliant. The same as yourself.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. But it's all kind of one conclusion that's kind of going out there right now is the demographics, and actually society itself is changing. The whole we're getting more of a global environment. This mm-hmm. is not like, the United States and we have this over here, we have this over. It's everything is coming into one mm-hmm. situation, and it changes. Always stressful, whether it be good or bad. But there's a lot of people out there, and I know, and I hope you're listening, that are just unsure of where they're at because they've been forced outside the box. Mm-hmm. They've always wanted to think outside the box before, but now they're actually being forced outside the box. So they're just kind of out there in limbo. So, so what you would do with individuals like that is would you sit them down and would you put like a worksheet in front of them, or give them different tasks to follow? What would be a guideline for that?
Well, everything is personalized to the client. So it really depends on what they're focusing on, what they're working on, what their specific issues and struggles are. And I guess really when you're considering a life coach, you want to look at, is coaching the route that you want to take, or are you wanting to look at therapy? Do you need a mentor? Do you just need someone else to talk to, like a family member or a friend? And so first you have to figure out, is coaching the route? Because they're all kind of in the same family, if you will.
Okay.
And really the way to tell the difference is to know that therapy is about the past. So you're going to be, so a person that is wanting therapy, they've got a lot of issues in their past. A therapist is going to diagnose, and therapy is about bringing a person from dysfunctional to functional.
Okay.
So those would not be ideal candidates for coaching.
No, okay. They wouldn't be.
They would not be. They want to go see a therapist or a counselor.
Okay.
Because a therapist is going to do something different than a coach. So therapy's focused in the past.
Okay.
And a person that is going to therapy, they're dysfunctional in their life, and a therapist is going to help them bring them to functional. Coaching helps a person go from functional to optimal.
Oh, so what's now that a person has been grounded per se? Mm-hmm. Now what you're going to say now that you've got your I don't want to say demons, but you've got yourself whole. Now what you would do is give them direction.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, and coaching also involves some of the looking at the past, because you never really get rid of all of this stuff.
Yes, I was going to say,
you learn how to play with it and how
Yeah.
to manage it, but a dysfunctional person is someone really that they don't operate in their life. That they set a goal, even if you have that coach asking them the next week, how did you do? Did you get the thing done? They're still not finding that internal motivation or drive to move the things forward.
Okay.
And so they would want to go see a therapist versus a coach. A lot of times people also think coaching is very similar to, and it is, mentoring, but mentoring is saying, I've walked a particular path, and I'm going to show you how to walk this same exact path.
Okay,
that's not coaching.
No, that's not coaching. No. So what you would do then, Erin, is like say I wanted to be a musician, or I want to go towards that direction. You would help me find the energy within myself.
Right, and helping you clarify what makes sense for you. I'm helping you figure out the path for you, knowing that you're the expert in your life as opposed to me having all the answers.
Okay.
I've got a lot of good stuff.
A lot of good
tricks.
Right, okay. I like tricks. I do. Now you working with you. Like I said, would you give me schedules or like tasks, to go out and complete, finish, and do I, I have, I don't know, would this be like a curriculum, like a school, or, I'm just trying to help, clarify out there. If a person would ask, Erin, I want you to be my life coach. Okay, what, Erin? What, what are you gonna do for this person?
So,
am I being goofy here?
Yeah. No, yeah, okay. And this is really where people are coming from, and why it is important to know that there are differences between
right. See, that's what I'm trying to clarify here.
It's because with coaching, there isn't one specific agenda. So I can't say I know exactly what I'm going to do with you, because it all depends on where you're coming from.
Okay.
So it's personalized. It's personalized, and actually, I can go to some of the scenarios that
would be perfect. That would be perfect, Erin. If we were to go to examples are always good to kind of put things in perspective. And Erin, please forgive me. That's what I'm trying to do, is just put things in perspective, because that's important, because you want to make sure that when you're asking for a certain assistance, that you're getting it in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, too, with coaching, any coach that you look at, they're going to do a complimentary session. So you really are going to get a clear picture on what coaching is, what's possible working with that specific coach. By the end of that session, you're really going to know if that's the right coach for you.
Excellent.
And if they can meet your needs.
Excellent. And for all your listeners out there, this is Bobby Mick with The Edge. I'm sitting here with Erin. If you have any questions for Erin, which I hope you do, please call in at 314-714-4200, and I'm sure she'd love to answer any questions you have. But in the meantime, Let's do some scenarios.
Okay, so I got permission from a couple clients to do some kind of dig into the details of what they got going on.
Okay.
But I'm going to keep them
general.
Yes.
General.
So I'm going to read what I wrote. So
the names have been protected for the innocent.
Yeah, they've been changed. Yes. So my first client, she's an entrepreneur, and she made some business choices that kind of put her in a sticky financial situation.
Okay, precarious.
And because of that situation, she is questioning her career path now. And she has a lot of anxiety, guilt, a lot of self-recrimination, really beating herself up for the mistake. And basically she set her life up so that everything she's doing is focusing on the mistake, what she did wrong.
The negative side.
It's all focused on the negative, all the poor choices, and so that's causing her to feel very low and unmotivated.
Okay, self-esteem kind of going down the what as well?
Yeah, and if you're constantly all day focused on what you did wrong, who's going to feel motivated to do the activity required to get yourself out of
which we'll probably talk about later is the law of attraction, because that plays a big role, a huge role in this. Go ahead.
Okay, so she's kind of got that going on, and that should sound like a lot of people out there. That we're complaining. Well, if we have time, we can also work on your music.
Right. Yeah. But I would, Aaron. I would love that. That give me a big deal, and we're all set. What color would you like your Ferrari?
So that should sound like a lot of people. We're focused on the negative. What's not working? What's wrong, what's bad, and we're calling everybody and their brother to tell them
how miserable, and this is all bad,
horrible,
bad stuff.
And that just creates more of what isn't working.
Right.
And so really kind of the key thing that we started working on with her was stop focusing on what's going wrong.
Okay.
We want to focus on what's going right, because that's what creates more of
good stuff.
Yeah, it's the classic create a gratitude journal sort of a thing. So for her, that was one of the exercises that we did. That's why I was having trouble answering you earlier, because it all depends
on what the circumstances is. Right, gotcha.
Right, because if she wasn't focusing on the negative, then we likely wouldn't have done a gratitude journal.
Right, gotcha.
And so really whatever you're focusing on expands, and so if she's constantly focusing on the debt's just going to get bigger. It's going to get
You're
heavier.
going to get more of what you are, because, again, not to get, forward or anything here, but I've been reading a lot of books on the law of attraction. And, the power of thought. The power of thought is huge. That universe up there is a big store, a big manufacturing store, that you place an order, and how you place that order is with a thought. So if you're constantly placing that order of, I don't have, this is bad, it's going to just manufacture more of that for you. Absolutely. And that's what we're told. We got a caller coming in here. Hello.
My name's Ian.
Hi, Ian.
I'm calling about the life coach.
Hello.
Hi. I play college baseball, and I go to school, and I have a job. And I was just wondering how I could attract success with that.
Well, first, how would you define success?
Well, just being good at everything that I do and achieving my goals that I have.
Okay, and what are your goals?
Well, I'd like to go farther than college with baseball, at least go to a bigger college, because I go to a community college. And then possibly finding a more advanced job than the one that I have now.
Okay.
And graduating from college.
Okay. And obviously, if we were in a real session, I would ask you many, many more questions. But just from this little brief piece, I would say clarity is going to be really important for you. Clarify what it is that you want, because you have to know where you're going. So when you say, I want to accomplish my goals, know what your goals are. When you say, I want a better job, what does better mean? What kind of pay does that include? What are the parameters of that job? So that way you know where to go, what to look for. So have you clarified those things, and is that what you're currently doing?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I just got the job, so I'm just trying to maybe just go into a more I'll get raises and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure what I'm confused.